So what I'd like to begin with is the idea that the Greeks had two philosophies about life. One philosophy was from Democritus, who talked about the body being what you see is what you get. It's physical. Okay, it's a physical machine. Socrates talked about the body being both the physical machine, but it had an external or invisible influence. And that influence was spirit, God, religion, thought, not necessarily religion, but thought, but energy. And what happened was during the time of our evolution, that information from Democritus was picked up by Isaac Newton, and Isaac Newton made the decision that through studying the stars and the planets and so forth, that life was mechanical. And so that perspective from mechanical meant that our life vision was mechanical. So at that point, Isaac Newton supported Democritus' theory about life being mechanical, and everything was reduced down to the physical composition. And so that meant that the only thing that was, and Darwin came into the picture and realized that, okay, so let's support this theory by talking about chemicals. So then the idea of hereditary influences, what was controlling the cell development was hereditary. So they made the conclusion that your hereditary issue was defined by your chemicals. So they took apart semen, took apart the egg, and said that's how you get to be who you are from your hereditary relationship with your parents. So with Newtonian's mathematical theory of calculus, then the whole world accepted this Newtonian perspective. Well, as you just heard me say, there were two perspectives. There was Socrates' perspective of the invisible influencing the physical, or there was just a physical. So medicine, allopathy, pharmaceutical, it all comes under the idea of Newtonian physics. And Newtonian physics basically says, it's in the body, it's mechanical. So cancer is in your body. Fibromyalgia, it's in your body. So all of it has to do. So that's why we have surgery and pharmaceuticals and allopathy, because it's mechanical. So the body is mechanical. And so there's no outside influence. Well, in 1925, we got introduced to quantum theory or quantum physics. And what we found out was, in fact, like Socrates expressed, there is an outside influence. There's something called waveforms or wavelengths or energy. And then Tesla took a step further and said frequency, energy, and vibration. So now we have these conflicting cases of how we look at our body. On the one hand, yes, we're a very physical being, but on the other hand, we're also frequency, energy, and vibration. I wanted to give you the context of this because this is what we're all under the influence of. And so all of our education, all of our doctors, all of our sciences are coming under Newtonian physics, which means literally it's the physical. There's no outside influence. And I think most of us on this call now will begin to ask the question, is there outside influences as far as frequency, energy, vibration, thought? And when that was talked about during Darwin's time, that might have made sense. But now we live in the world, 21st century, and have something called EMF pollution. We have waveform pollution, all kinds of things. And then you can get all this information on the website under the journey section under the resource page. And you can see where I've actually pulled an excerpt of actually Dr. Lipton talking about this very thing about Democritus and Socrates and how it really is a limitation of the medical industry. And he actually comes out and says on the video, the reason you don't get taught that your body is frequency, energy, and vibration is the influence of the pharmaceutical industry. So take that on board as we go through this conversation, that what we've learned about science and what we've learned about water and what we've learned about our body is what's called Newtonian or physical. Well, clearly that's not the case, because before that, the ancestors knew very well that water was much more than hydrogen and oxygen, and it was much more than chemical composition. The other thing I want you to understand about this is your body itself, your illnesses, your diseases, your compromise, your so forth and so on, they're not just physical. So in the world of, yes, well, why do they radiate the cancer? Why do they do certain things? Well, because to them, it's a bug. It's a problem. It's not the source of it. It's like, let's just get it out. Let's cut it out, fill it out. Let's do something with it. And so that whole approach literally is why we're experiencing what we're experiencing. Now, why is that an issue for us? Well, first of all, it's only one philosophy and it doesn't give us a lot of spectrum to look from. And number two, it means that, well, if that's the case, if everything is physical and water is just chemicals and it's just, we're just all a bunch of chemicals, basically, and there is no influence of God or thought or anything else, then we're operating without a lot of information about what we need to know about our environment. Okay. For example, if you say, and I'll speak to you about it again, I want to set the stage for this place to come from in your thinking, that when I say the word chemical, you say the word frequency. When I say the word laundry detergent, you say the word frequency. When I say the word pollution, you say rogue frequency. Okay, so also in this information is something I pulled out by David Icke. And David Icke talks very clearly in his information about what is pollution in the water. Well, I want you to hear this term in two ways. Information. Information. We are forms that are created from waves. And so basically, if we just look from Newtonian physics, we're never going to get to the idea of frequency, energy, and vibration. But we have to get to frequency, energy, and vibration to understand where we are today in the world. So go back on the website and look at this information from David Icke, from Bruce Lipton, two quantum luminaries, and begin to see your world as frequency, energy, and vibration, and not just Newtonian or chemical composition. So now let me revisit this issue. So in the world of scientists, in the world of water, in the world of water treatment and so forth, in their perspective is when they clean the water from the chemicals or the things that are harmful or the bad things, they are cleaning the water based on chemical composition. They are removing the detergents and the cleaners and the different things through aggressive filtration of what's in the water. So if you ask the water department, is our water clean? Well, clearly it can't be, because when a fluoride is 0.001 microns, or when a birth control goes right through the filtration system, it's not leaving the water supply. So it's not getting filtered. But let's just start with the word filter for a moment. So if you filter the water, what are you doing? You're trapping certain pollutants and contaminants. There's over 110 of them that go through the water filtration process. Now, in the world of Newtonian physics, I have captured those particular, let's call them contaminants. But have I actually changed them? Or have I done anything to them in terms of a frequency, energy, and vibrational point of view? And the answer to that is no. All I've done is captured that and held back through a micron process that I've filtered out that particular contaminant, right? Now, but what we really need to understand is that energy of that contaminant has gone right through that filtration process, right into the water, and right into the water in your body. Because water is something that's known for a very long time, records and stores memory. So I want you to hear that again. Water records and stores memory. I want you to understand that water is what is called a half-truth. You are drinking water that is chemically clean, but energetically dirty. And you're drinking water that is what I would call purified in terms of the chemical composition, but completely low vitality in terms of what your body needs. There's two ways to look at this. There's water as a chemical composition, and there's water as a frequency, energy, and vibration. Water as a chemical composition has what it has: hydrogen and oxygen, molecules, molecular structure, and clusters. Water as a frequency is an informational field. It's a waveform. It's an informational field, okay? In that information is what God gave us to give us the most amount of optimal health and well-being. That means in the water itself is the information that plants, animals, and people need for optimal health. Now, hear that again. In the water is the information, the frequency information that God put in the water for us to have optimal health and well-being. But since our Newtonian process alters and structures and restructures and changes the actual availability of the water has changed, and it no longer provides the information that plants, animals, and people need for optimal health on a waveform, on a frequency, on an energy level. But if you talk to them in their reality, their water's clean at 7.5 pH, it's been filtered, so forth and so on. Now, what am I saying? What I'm saying is that when you get a filtration system, you're not changing the energy of the water. You're not changing the vitality of the water. You're not changing the frequency or the memory in the water. Now, what does this look like on a physical level? This looks like something called dynes that are actually, normally you have something dynes called surface tension. Surface tension is the water's ability to seep through and provide what it needs. Right now, the surface tension of municipal tap water, distilled water, or bottled water is what's called 75 to 85 dynes. And you can see that on the website. I've gone in great detail about this on the section about pure water, 6 reasons why water is making you sick. What this means is that the world is chronically dehydrated because these water cells, these water clusters, cannot go down your cell wall. They cannot go through their aquaporin channel and reach into your cells. So your cells are very clever, by the way. Your cells have what's called they're a complete excretion, immune system, everything. A cell is a complete entire body. Did you know that? The cell is a complete entire body. It has an accretion system, has a nutritional system, has an immune system, all inside of it. And you can learn about more of that through Biology Belief with Dr. Lipton. The cell actually is a positive charged molecule that hides the juice, the negative size inside. It's a battery. It's a positive and negative battery. We have 50 trillion batteries in our body, okay? And they're both positive and negative, like any battery is. The problem is, from speaking from a positive and negative charge point of view, our batteries are very low because our batteries are very highly positive, but we have very little negative charge. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying the absorbability of the water in today's world is not charging your battery. It's not getting through the cell wall, and it's not making it so. In fact, the body's so smart that it's actually building up a resistance. Get this, no one's going to talk to you about this. The cells are building up a resistance to this water. This is why your body doesn't want to drink natural water. And I say natural water, I'm not talking about the right water. It doesn't want to drink tap water, bottled water, distilled water, because it knows there's no energy in this water. And yet the establishment says, drink more water. You got to drink more water. Well, they don't understand that the water is not absorbable, and neither is it in the food. So if it doesn't go through the cell wall in your body, it's not going to go through the cell wall of the plants and animals and people, plants and animals. So that means the carrot that you spent a lot of money on that's organic or very high Brix rating for nutrition isn't actually hydrated. It doesn't actually give you value. So I'm going to talk about this in another way. So I talked about it in terms of the chemistry composition. Now I talk about it in terms of positive ionization. So what's the problem with positive ionization, or what's called in concept-wise, if these chemicals and detergents and things are in the water, why is that a problem? Because they're creating this contaminated situation where the cell starts to buffer, and literally positive energy can't get through a positive energy wall. So the more contaminants that we have, the bigger the dyne size, the more lack that cell has the ability to detox and nourish, okay? And you, as I said before, are automatically chronically dehydrated. So are your animals. So are your children, everybody. Okay. So we're going to talk about water first. Now, as this water begins to continue to get into your body, it just gets stored up. It doesn't go anywhere. It can't release. And you'll notice that you're feeling constantly dehydrated, or you don't feel good. You're sluggish, whatever it is, because literally the dyne side needs to be about 46 dynes, and it's 75 or 80. That's a positive ion trying to get through a positive ion wall. Won't happen, okay? So we have a solution to that. I'm just giving you the stages of this, okay? So we have chemical composition, we have positive ionization, and then we have the toxicity or lack of vitality or energy. So if you look at your mind says, well, a bottle of water, a glass of water should be energy and vitality for me. That's what my psychology says. Since I'm a child, that's what I know water is. But in fact, ladies and gentlemen, if you took a 100-watt light bulb in your mind and you actually measured the vitality coming out of the water today, it'd barely be 25 watts of energy. Now, why is that a problem? Because remember I talked to you about those batteries needing the positive and negative charge for your millivoltage of your system. Well, if that energy is not coming into the cells, then it can't give you what you need for immunity. So literally, the water you're drinking is increasing your immune strength. Ring the bell on that one. Everybody hear what I said? The water you're drinking is decreasing your immune strength, because it's taking your body lots of energy to digest that water and to make it available for your bio water. And the bio water is what's in your system. We have 70, 90% water. We're 70, 90% water, and we don't even talk about it. We know more about the operating system of our iPhone and our smartphone than we knew about the operating system of our body. And that's by design, I want you to know. So here we are, we're a system that, first of all, we're told we're physical. We're never talked about energy, frequency, and vibration. We have nothing in our mind that ties our chemicals, our food, and everything else to being it either enhances us or suppresses us, because energy can either be created or destroyed. It just changes form. So we're looking at things like detergent that we don't make any relationship to, that's a vibration that might not be good for me. Do you ever think about, I mean, I actually teach in the past, I taught this. I would muscle test people with Tide laundry detergent, or whatever the equivalent is in Europe and the UK. And you found that it lowered your muscle, it lowered your energetic system, it lowered your nervous system. Wouldn't it be amazing for you to think that you're using laundry detergent that's actually not good vibrationally for you day after day after day? Well, you are. And it's not just vibrational laundry detergent. We have a new one now called EMP or electromagnetic poisoning, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So this means that we got, first of all, we're dealing with what? We're dealing with chemical composition, not the full story. We're dealing with positive ionization. That's another way to look at the pollutant contaminants. And then we're looking at a very low level of energy coming from the water. Well, that's not good, because we're 70, 90% water, and our whole system runs through energy. So what 1,000 years ago, that water was really healthy. It had the right information in it, that information that came to us. So we're beginning now to look at four things in this call. We're going to look at water. I'm giving a full information about water. Now, at this point, it should be becoming obvious to you that everything that you consume and everything that you're taking into your body in terms of liquid beverages, Sunkist, orange juice, from the shelf, off the shelf, whatever it is, has the same condition. All of your consumables. This is including your, your isogenics and your Herbalife and your powders and your forms and your protein shakes. They're not absorbing. They're going into your body, and they're somehow eking it down that aquaporin channel. And you can see that again from that diagram, but they're not absorbing, okay? Which means they're not giving you the energy. They're not getting through that cell wall. And this is not a conversation the doctors are going to have with you. It's not a conversation the formulators are going to have with you, because they don't understand that from that perspective. Again, our whole world, folks, was oriented around Newtonian physics. It's all chemical. It's all physical. So now we're going to bring in this next conversation. How do I change that water? What do I do to change that water? I have to get beyond that. I have to be in that cell. How do I get into that cell wall? How do I get past that big backup of high surface tension with all those dyne sizes backing up and all that, and the cell trying to protect itself from all that nasty crap that's coming towards it? How do we get through that? And how do we open up that cell so that cell can basically detox, okay, and it can nourish? Well, first of all, we have to microcluster the water that's going through your body. We have to make one drop 250 drops. So that 250 drops goes right through that cell wall. Now, can I say this is happening? Yeah, 15 years I can say this is happening through evidence with pigs, chickens, cows, greenhouses, 20-40% increase in yield, happy, healthy pigs, higher weight for the chickens, farmers that are happy and healthy because they have all this return on investment. So we've proven this technology works with the animals and the plants. Now I said, maybe we should try it with humans. They're a lot more subjective, but let's see what's possible. So what we're going to hear about here is testimonies of people that are going absolutely crazy with the results. The whole thing is really straightforward in understanding that this is a shift taking place. Okay, so first of all, we got to microcluster the water. We got to get it through that cell wall. Now, what do you hear me saying? Positive water, trying to get through positive cell, not happening. So we start to microcluster, get through the cell wall. We have to change the information in that water at your tap, at your municipal supply, as soon as it enters your home, or if you're going to do it with something called a portable, like our handheld or a bottle topper, we have to change that information as soon as it becomes the next source, as it goes from the source. So the source is either going to be your home and your water coming into the house, which is your water line. And by the way, water departments are not bad people. They just don't have any idea what I'm talking about because they're doing chemical composition, not frequency, energy, and vibration. They don't even look at the water as a form of voltage, but it is. Okay, so we're going to, first of all, change the water at the tap. Now, what does that mean? We're going to take those pollutant contaminants and all those nasty things out of the water. We're going to bring a higher voltage, a frequency,